Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Cameron White with us, and he's an advertising professional. So welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, Tyler, thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, man. Grateful to have you here. We'll dive into the first one. The first question I have for you, Cameron, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
You know, I've thought about this a lot. I think probably the best story is when it goes back to when I was 9 years old. I had a neighbor, a good friend of mine. Our houses are right next to each other. We both had second-story back porches, and we got an idea, since my parents had got me a zip line for the backyard when I was younger, to hook this zip line between our two back porches. And it was a good idea at first, or so we thought. And it really worked out. We had the connection between the back porches. We could just hop over, zip line to one side. Over time, the cable started to wear into the wooden rails on the back porches. And eventually we got on it one day after like the 100th round, and it snapped through the wooden porch, and my friend fell to the ground, broke his leg. And the underlying message for this, I think, is just over time, you have a lot of connections between a lot of people, a lot of networking sites out there, but it's important to manage the connections and really, value these connections, or else they could break. It's a modern day take on don't burn any bridges.
I like that, man. I like that. And the next one I have for you is what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
When it comes to integrated marketing campaigns today, more than ever, you have more channels to put media through to sell your brand than ever before. The most important thing, though, to be efficient, you need to know what you're selling, and you have to have a unique selling idea to put out there. And that comes from lots of research into the brand, finding a unique truth about your brand that you can sell to your target audience. And the next point of that is to know your target audience in order to reach them efficiently.
And what is your best piece? It could tie in, but what's your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
I think in business today, you can take any passion you have and turn it into some sort of business model. There's a lot of tools available. If you look at a lot of Instagram people today, a lot of Insta famous people will have a great business that's solely on Instagram alone. It's based off of their content they create and reaching out to businesses and advertising their products. And they're making, great money at doing that. So I think anything you have a passion for, you can turn that into a stream of revenue for yourself.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that
be? Definitely just to believe in myself more. When you're younger, you don't have a lot of confidence because you don't have a lot of experience in the workforce. But everybody's opinion matters. You need to contribute to the marketplace of ideas more. So, speak up, have a voice, and, voice your opinion, because that's how things get done. And in your opinion, what's the key to happiness? So for me, the key to happiness for me is always getting out of my comfort zone. When I feel like I want to turn an opportunity down, it's best for me to say yes to the opportunity and have the experience, because it's always an adrenaline rush. And, through that adrenaline rush, it really lends a lot of perspective and keeps me in a progression mindset. So it keeps me going forward and lets me have new experiences leading to new ideas. And I think forward thinking and progressive thinking is the key to my happiness. And I agree, man. Growth for me is huge. So totally aligned with that. And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that? So the best book I've read, I read it probably 5 years ago, but it's called Winner's Dream, A Journey from Corner Store to Corner Office by the CEO of SAP, Bill McDermott. And he had a lot of good points in the book, but the main takeaway for me is if you have a passion for something, don't stop pursuing it. And also, say yes to a lot of opportunities that are presented to you, because you can learn how to do a position later, even if you don't know about it at the time. Say yes and learn the job later, because it'll benefit you hugely down the road.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
Favorite quote, it always seems impossible until it's done, by Nelson Mandela. And it's words for every young entrepreneur to live by, honestly.
Yes, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where's the best place for people to find you online?
Definitely catch me on Instagram at Cameron Lyndon. That's at CameronLyndon. A lot of good stuff I'm doing, photography and new designs I'll be putting out on my page pretty soon.
Perfect, man. Thanks again for joining us.
All right. Thanks for having me, Tyler. Have a great day.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.